Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, a video that's been a long time coming. I've been on summer vacation, but I've been following PSG very closely. Um, I have a lot of opinions on the transfer window, but I will wait until the end of the summer to talk about it. But I've been following it very, very closely. And I watched the Aston Villa PSG game, the win in the Super Cup. We knew how to win this game, and we were good losers today against a worthy win for Lens. I will be honest. Lens is a terrific team. Um, what a story they are, and I think they are the main story of this game. Um, they are PSG's greatest rival in the league since they reached their prime. Without any sort of means, they've been able to snap the only trophies that PSG have not been able to get their hands on, at least this prime PSG, this season, who won back-to-back Champions League but couldn't get the Trophée des Champions won by Lens, and then the French Cup won by Lens. Also, what a team this is. They have a real identity. The public is absolutely amazing. The singing before the second half in the stadium was really beautiful. They are an amazing French club. I will be paying very, very close attention to what they do in the Champions League this season because they are a really, really good club, a really, really well-ran club with a really good identity. A set of fans who are really behind this is the institution, who understands the supporters. You get a real identity from this club, and it's a really, really good club that has been annoying PSG for the longest time, and they're back at their prime level, and they are annoying us again. But they are doing it in such an amazing way. They're such an amazing football team. Thauvin is a Ligue 1 legend, right? He's absolutely amazing. What he did with Marseille, and then he left, and then he came back with another team and completely annoyed PSG to a better point than he could with Marseille. It's pretty crazy what he's been able to accomplish as a leader, as the technical leader. Today he was the captain, and rightly so. He is an amazing footballer who annoys the best of the best by how good he is with the ball. He is such an amazing player. This team is so amazing. You know, they lost two of their starting midfielders to Premier League transfers, and they're still beating prime PSG. It's crazy. They're such a good team. And today we saw the full strength of this team. They were at home. They were fighting for a trophy. And they were at their absolute prime and their absolute best, despite things not going their way, right? Let's be honest. A red card that I didn't think was a red card for them. The whistle right before their second goal. The referee didn't play advantage. You know, it didn't go their way today, but they still won, and they won it in an honorable way. PSG lost in an honorable way also. This was a really good game, right? Really, really good game. Um, Unfortunately, there's a context to this for me. I watched this game on Sling. I live in the US, so I watched this game on Sling and then therefore on Bean Sports. The quality of the broadcasting is atrocious, right? It's just one guy speaking, no music. The trophy presentation was exactly like that. One guy speaking on the microphone, no music, no background, not even the fans of Bollard, who is one of the best stadiums in France. And they showed it today. No, none of that. It was just horrible quality, right? They're broke, clearly. Like absolutely no effort being put into to give us the experience. The only people that are good about, this broadcast are the commentators and the people who are making you live the game during the game. But man, we need help. The people who watch it on Sling need help with the quality of the broadcasting. Um, it was also really poorly ran. I felt terrible for this guy, Kylian Antonio. Ligue 1 did not show their best face today in terms of the officiating, in terms of But not that's not the main story, right? Mostly the way that they handled some situations, like the Antonio situation. He got a red card for a red card that I personally didn't think was a red card, right? But regardless, right? Even if it's a red card, let him celebrate with his team. What are you doing, bro? He went off on a red card, like an unintentional. In fact, I didn't even think was a red card. It was a big call, yes, but he didn't react badly. Like, come on, like he helped his team win this despite getting a red card early in the game. Like, come on. The way that they handled the situation, and then he came in at the end after the trophy was already lifted. It was so hard to watch. It really hurt my soul the way that they handled his poor situation. Despite he just got a red card. You know, it happens. It's part of the game. It made the red cards made this game interesting, right? There was intensity. There was fight from both teams. It was a fight. There was some harsh tackles, but it was a match. It was a football match. It was a French football match, and the way they handled this situation, unfortunately, French football isn't represented by the most competent people out there, unfortunately. Um, but let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game. Maybe let's start with the referee. So I personally think, like no scandal out there, right? I do think, however, his performance on the decisions he made was poor. I can understand the mistakes that he made, but he did make mistakes, right? I do think ultimately, I have a couple of them. First of all, the red card on the Lens player, I thought was not a red card. In fact, I didn't even think it was a foul. I'll be honest, right? Now, yes, throughout the contact, after the ball is tackled, on the follow-up, there is a little bit of, studs to the ankle because both players went for the ball. But the guy who had the studs on the ankle won the ball, right? Also, it didn't come with a lot of force, a lot of strength. It was, Marnes Akliouche plays it well, but to give a red card for that, I I don't think so. He wins the ball before he fouls. Akliouche plays it well. I think that was really harsh, I'll be honest. But it was a mistake, but it was an honest mistake. There are still like, you could argue studs to the ankle. Okay. It wasn't a clear and obvious mistake, which is why I think VR didn't intervene, but I did think it was the wrong decision by the referee, and referees can make wrong decisions. I'm glad that they are given the ability to judge for themselves, right? Ultimately, not a not a clear and obvious mistake from everybody's point of view. From my point of view, it is a mistake. So that was a mistake. I think he gave some yellow cards to PSG that were a little unfair. He gave one to Doué that I thought was unfair. He gave one to Hakimi for just like softly going for head to head. The fact that they're not letting the players having a head to head because the guy fell to the floor for nothing, I think that's a shame. Hakimi didn't do anything wrong. He defended the guy that got destroyed off of a yellow worthy tackle. So that I thought was a mistake. I did think ultimately he did get one right, which was the Nuno Mendes red card. I think that was a good decision. I think despite Mendes really defending himself and really arguing that it wasn't a red card, I thought the way that he reacted and he put his shoulder out with force, despite the fact that yeah, he did get provoked. That was still a red card. Maybe the other guy deserves a yellow, but the red card you got was well deserved, right? So, here and there, mostly bad, but he did get one good decision right. But nothing crying. It was a big story about this game, right? The refereeing. So I did think I had to mention my opinion on the decisions. It was a big part of this game. I did think like just him, he he was a little harsh on Lens with his decisions, and he it didn't help that the people he works for handled the Antonio's situation. They didn't handle it well. It didn't help, him and his com and the company he works for. But um, yeah, I did think, however, um, talking about the two teams, that he was absolutely fantastic. The way he just got the ball. I think he's the man of the match, right? Yeah, clearly. I think that's absolutely deserved. I feel like they had a leader here, Lens, they had a leader here, and they had a leader here in the game. I thought they had a really, really good performance. They were strong, they were together, the culture, the stadium helped them be as good of a team as they were today as well. Really deserved winner. Like, I'll be honest, Florian Thauvin, the way he ran past players, the way he really created chances, despite being like a man down in this game. He was exemplary. He defended his team like a captain. But he didn't do too much, right? He didn't get a yellow for disciplinary reason. He did it the right way. He defended his team. He fought hard. He scored a goal, a really good goal, a really like focused goal. Dean kind of loses him really well. He really gets away from Dean really fast and all sorts of space to score. He was absolutely fantastic. The way he blocked Dembele when he came on, the way he snapped some balls away and created some counter chances for Thauvin to exploit. He was really good. Reeser was fantastic, made the saves that he had to make. This Lens team is a really, really good team, right? I can't say this enough. They're a really, really good team, and they lost some big players. Now, when it comes to PSG, it is a loss. So it hurts. It's painful. It's a trophy that you didn't win. Um, we're not going to win them all, unfortunately. I did, however, think PSG had a good performance. They just lost to a better Lens team on the night. Uh, Lens, who can be that good, and they showed it. They are a really, really good team. They show the quality that we have in the French league and the way we continuously produce some amazing Ligue 1 teams like the 2016-2017 Monaco, some of the Marseille teams before, the Lyon teams with Nabil Fekir, those teams that can really, really perform well in Europe. On occasion, unfortunately, they don't last because mostly they eventually sell their players to bigger Premier League teams. A little bit like what Lens did, but they are a fantastic team still, and I think they can do some incredible things in the new format of the Champions League that they haven't experienced before, but I think could benefit them a little bit like it benefited Brest when they were in their prime. So really excited to see what they do. But back to PSG, this was a good performance. They lost with honor. They clapped the opposing team, really gave them respect after the win, despite really giving them a fight during the game. There was two red cards in the game, a bunch of yellows. Aggressiveness. They really wanted to win. They played to win. Akliouche was devastated after the loss. You could see it in his eyes. They were angry, and I liked it, but they showed their opponents respect. And I think that shows what kind of team this is. Luis Enrique, everybody, stayed to the side, watched their enemies lift the trophy proudly and clap them on their way out. I thought that was really classy. I love this team also for that reason. That was an amazing show of character. We know how much you want to win trophies and who you think you are, but you gave respect to the team that really, really gave you trouble a lot more than some of those Prem teams, right? Now, I do think most of the team was good, and that they had a good performance individually as well as collectively. Things didn't really go our way in front of goal. We had a goal offside, a goal rolled offside by pretty much nothing. We had a hit off the post by Doué. Dembele, when he came on, missed a couple of chances, including a really, really big chance. But the intensity was there, the play was there, they handled the game well. It was a difficult game, and they handled it well. It just things didn't go their way. Um, Things can happen like that in football, and especially when you play a side this good, right? This is a Champions League level team, and I can't wait to see what they do in the Champions League this year. But I have high hopes for them. Now individually, Matvei Savinov can't really do anything on the technically two goals he concedes, even though one of them is ruled out. So he did, make a couple good saves. I thought he was solid today, but not spectacular. Eventually, in the end of the day, Lens didn't have that many shots on target, but made the ones that they did have count. Hakimi, I thought was good today. Really led the team in both sides of the field. Came back all the time, made tons of runs. Really gave PSG their best possessions in forward areas. He was really, really good. He got an unfair a yellow card, right? He was a captain defending his player. Now, when it comes to Zabarny, I'm actually a little bit surprised by the rating he gets. He just feels like he's kind of passing by when you're watching these games. Like whenever he's playing with PSG, he just feels like he's passing by. Like there's not a strong character that comes out. He's very shy. And more importantly, when you analyze his football, he doesn't really enjoy the fight, the duels, the body to body strong experience. You always kind of feel like he goes at a little bit halfway in his duels, despite being a huge, huge guy, right? But he's good at picking, like getting the ball off of somebody's feet, like nipping it out. And he's got pace. He can handle the ball well, but he's not a fighter, right? And that's ultimately what Marquinhos has that he doesn't, right? He doesn't fight on the field. He doesn't, he doesn't defend his players. He's really shy. And not only that, but he doesn't go into the duels like somebody who wants to dominate his opponent. And he got a couple times, I thought. Pacho was, not really present in the game too much. Had a good first half, but ultimately after the red card, the defenders didn't have a lot to do in this game. Now, Digne, we did concede the goal off of his mistake not following Thauvin that well. When we know that's a flaw in his game. But not only that, I think he doesn't, he's just not at the level of the players in this team. I'm surprised that because I do remember some of the games that he had for Aston Villa where he was a leader, very, very good. I think, what I'm seeing with France though is that he doesn't really know how to play as he doesn't have the level of a top left back. I personally would prefer Lucas Hernandez in that role. And if you have to back up one of those two positions, um, I like. I'm okay with him being like the backup for Pacho, but I do like him instead of Nuno Mendes more than Lucadini. Um, it's my opinion. I think he lacks the intensity. Maybe this is just like a beginning of season thing. He may need a second to adapt, but I don't think he has the physique, the focus and the drive and to really, really dominate like Nuno does. Like I personally think Lucas Hernandez does as well. Even though there's less, offensive product than Dean, he doesn't let things like what happened today happen, right? Um, Dean can cost us goals, right? He cost one today. He cost us a big one against Spain with France. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this Digne. I like Aston Villa Digne, but I wonder if this is the same Digne. I'll be honest. Um, Wine was really, really good, had a really big impact on the game. Um, he was really, really interesting, physical, and this game was really physical. And Wine has a way of doing it, which is very physical, but it never really gets him in trouble that much right now. Sometimes, obviously, some tackles can be aggressive, but he's so unmovable, that he never really has to make desperate tackles to impose himself. Even though he did make a really good one again against Aston Villa. He was really good today. Clean with the ball, did his role perfectly, and just dominated in the midfield. Um, I thought Beraldo was okay. Had a good first half, a complicated second half, which is why he left the field. Um, I don't know if I'm a huge fan of Beraldo in higher positions, um, but we'll see. Because ultimately he played higher positions because Vitinha was there. Vitinha today was good, apart from like a section of 20 minutes where he lost ball after ball after ball. I think it was like when he came back from halftime and Luis Enrique told him, okay, take more risks, go for it, take a little bit more risk. And, he went to the side and lost the ball there, trying to dribble past a player. He tried to shoot, even though he missed his shots. He was a little bit more risk taking. I think those were instructions from Luis Enrique, but they didn't pan out, right? He shot the ball away from the goal a lot of times. He he also shot it at blocked shots as blocked shots. There was a lot of block shots from Vitinha. Ultimately, he was almost a difference maker on the pass he makes to Doué, that then feeds Fabian Ruiz, who then scores. Um, he technically that doesn't count for an offside, and it's fair. Um, Not his best game. I think in big, with who he is, he should be making a bigger impact on the big moments, and he did create himself some good big moments that he didn't seize. So a disappointing performance from his standards, because he did have a chance to show himself today, and he didn't. Akliush, unfortunately, that was the first half was really good actually. I thought he was really, really like available and a good circulator of the play, but second half was hard for him. He kind of lost himself. By the way, he was playing in Doué's position for Dembele. Doué was always in the same position that he was. Akliush was the free roaming number nine in this game. And good first half combined well with Kvaratskhelia, and with the midfielders very available, but you kind of felt like at this after halftime, Luis Enrique told him to go a little bit more forward, act as a number nine, and it didn't really work out. He kind of ran himself to death today. Defend really put the pressing well, did Dembele's job very well, but Lens was a good team, and he kind of lost his level in the second half. And I felt really sad watching his face. He was really sad watching PSG lose this trophy. He wants to continue living his dream. I feel bad for him. I thought Doué was exceptional today, actually. He hit the crossbar. He was the most dangerous attacker on the field today by far. He's able to like wiggle through three, four players and get a shot or a pass off. He's really, really interesting, Doué. He's so clean on the ball. He's so good, and he really has a unique style to him. I think like he's just really good in tight spaces. The way he can be able to get out, and he does it with style. He tries tricks and they work. He's very interesting. I think he's a very, very good player, and he's got a really good shot on him as well. A really powerful whipped shot that I really like. Really, really interesting today. Deserved his goal, deserved his assist, right? He hits the crossbar. He's the one on the assist that's just a tiny bit offside on the offside goal for Fabian Ruiz. Um, he was good. And Gvardiol was good in the first half, and then kind of dipped a little bit. In fact, after the red card, I was hoping to see more of Kvaratskhelia than I actually did. He did look a little bit dangerous and like he was growing into the second half right before Luis Enrique took him off. But over the whole game, I kind of get it. He wasn't as good as Doué. So I think bringing on Akliush, not Akliush. Mayulu instead of Barcola was a big call though by Luis Enrique. I'm hoping that this is more like he's handling the transfer window. If Barcola stays, then I think ultimately Enrique will, play him again. But I'm disappointed. I want to see Barcola finish on a high note if he's gonna go. I love that player. He's a fantastic player. He's one of my favorite players of this PSG team. It's sad not to see him be a part of the of those things because I actually think he could have made a difference tonight. Mayulu came on and was pretty good, but too many players were the same in this team, right? Like I feel like they all are good, like Due, Vitinha, those like short players, and Kvaratskhelia who are like technical but not necessarily pacey. There was a lot of that today. I think Akbi was just one of them as well, right? And when Dembele came on, same, right? The dominance in pace and but also skill from Barcola could have been interesting in this game. But Mayulu is a little bit more of a player like Doué, like Akliouche, like Dembele, like Vitinha, like those technical players. Um, so there was a little bit too much of the same thing, and that's a little bit what I'm worried about when it comes to the transfer window from PSG. I think Ramos is important in this team. I think, well, Lee Kang-in is more of a, Akliouche represents Lee Kang-in's style a little bit well. So, but you do decide to go for a Ferran Torres, who's a little bit more exactly like these players. If you're going to get rid of Barcola, you're going to keep Mika Götze, who's more of a Kvaratskhelia than of a Barcola in terms of profile. You are kind of restricting your options in ways to win, I think, with this transfer market. But, we have champions, so we'll see. I think Enrique has a vision, but I'm interested to see what he does with this, but I'll talk more about that later. Overall, I did think ultimately Beraldo was decent. I did think we were a good PSG, right? I don't think we were a bad PSG. We just didn't have the moments for us today. The moments didn't come for us today, but we weren't bad. Fabian Ruiz had a really good entrance as well. Um, yeah, that was pretty much my take on the game itself. Um, Let me know what you think in the comments. If ever you come across this video, if you happen to have watched the game, if you haven't, what you thought of what I said about it, and let me know. Keep me updated, and I will start making videos again now that I've moved to a new place. I've settled in. I've gone on vacation, so and the season's starting to start again, so I'm excited. But yeah, I'll keep you updated. I have a lot to say about the Ballon d'Or as well, which I think is a really interesting topic. So we'll talk about this. In the meantime, um, feel free to comment if you have anything to say, and I'll see you next time.